Welcome back. It's a whole nother week. It is Monday afternoon. I hope everyone had a great weekend and is ready to attack this whole new week because every week has surprises of its own, right? Get things that go great, things you wake up and wish you wouldn't have had to wake up and deal with, which I've been having to do a little bit of that this morning. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I woke up and I saw the email and I didn't want to deal with it. I just went ahead and did all my shipping, got all my orders out, did everything I needed to do business-wise. And then I'm just spending the rest of the morning just still dealing with this whole credit card chargeback thing with Wix, still holding all my money, still giving me all kinds of trouble, asking for all kinds of crazy proof and pictures and referrals. And so to everyone that I reached out to in Discord that did send me like emails confirming they got their orders and thanking me and giving me like reviews and stuff, I appreciate you guys. You guys are more help than you know, because I am in the thick of it right now, battling one person that wanted to make a whole bunch of work and headaches for me. So I appreciate all that, guys. I did want to talk about exactly what the title says, right? Taking profits and also dealing with losses, deciding when to hold, when to sell, things like that. Because I feel like every video, and not just mine, but like any video, any Pokemon investments YouTuber makes or any conversations that's had around this subject is, I feel like you could dissect everything said and you could kind of take anything you kind of almost like make up your own mind on what each person said, right? Like you could look at my video and take something I said and kind of come up with a reason or what I meant by it. Like, oh, well, Alex is saying never to sell, or Alex is saying to sell right now, or Alex is saying if you sell, you're an idiot, or, and I really wanted to kind of break down in a live stream where I could like clear up anything with questions so it wasn't like in the comment sections and I wasn't saying something on camera and then people taking it the wrong way. Because one of the things I was getting comments on my last video was talking about, I made a comment about, people that aren't holding or people that sell out after boxes hit, $200 or something. They're more of long-term flippers instead of investors. And all I meant by that is as the product continues to get less and less available in the market, all the product moves up to the whales that just don't sell because they don't need the income. That in no way, shape, or form means it's wrong to sell or wrong for those people to take profits. It just means they're at a different stage of their collecting, investing, financial, spot in their life, what their goals are. And so that's why I really wanted to attack today, guys. So I'm going to let people kind of stream in here. Usually at the beginning, it's a little slow. I'll go ahead and see what the chat's saying, and then I'll kind of get into the meat and potatoes of this thing in a few minutes. So how's everyone doing in the chat? We got Coolest Shibe is going to Collecticon Atlanta. Awesome. So that's what, this Saturday? Hope you have a good time there. My friend Steve lives down that way. He's going. He's been on the channel a couple times. He's going to be at that Collecticon. So that's going to be cool. Captain America said never been to Collecticon. Want to go to one? You should, dude. You should definitely go to one Collecticon at least. I like going to them, but you should definitely go to at least one and experience it, I think. Mayu Z says, what do you think about the mini booster boxes, the UK exclusives? Yeah, I heard about those 18 packs ones. I don't know. I would probably put them like maybe between a bundle and a English booster box, somewhere maybe in between there, maybe. The exclusivity of it might be pretty nice, but I don't know how sought after they are. It's interesting. It's an interesting one. I mean, if the price per pack is good, it makes sense anyway. So that's what I would say. Brandon, what's up? How's it going? Hope you're enjoying the live stream. Oh, we're going to enjoy it. We're going to eat some bacon cheeseburgers, and we're going to have a good day. Power through the pain, live, love, Bidoof. I'm going to power through it. Don't you worry. Yeah, dude, it's a mess. What's crazy about the whole thing is how the payment processing platforms, they immediately jump to demonizing the business over like actually digging through it and saying, oh, this person's obviously a scammer, or they're obviously, it's all because of one person that all the numbers are out of whack. And instead of doing that, they immediately jump to, oh, you're outside of the regulations between orders to chargeback limits. We're going to freeze everything. We're going to investigate you. We need all this proof. And until we get that proof, you're not getting any of your money. And it's just like, because one guy charged back a bunch of orders. Yep. Those are the rules. Like, Okay, and I've ran it up the chain, guys. Like I've been on the phone with these people for like multiple days, hours at a time, running it up the chain to this supervisor and this manager and this guy and that guy, and you can't get anywhere. There's nowhere to get to. It's just this long, boring, this crazy corporate process, and it sucks. It is what it is. And I mean, again, I don't know if Pokey and he's watching this. I know he watches some of mine. Look, Brian, man, like I understand all the benefits of having your own site, but I'll say one thing, man. I've been selling eBay and TCG Player for years. eBay for 13 years now. Never had this happen. Never had a scenario, even with PayPal or Venmo. I've never had a scenario where all of my money is being held. Not just the money that's included in the chargebacks, but all of my money is being held. And it's just like, I don't know how much I like this whole having your own site thing. So I don't know, man. We might be clashing on that in the future. I don't know if I'm on board with it's really great to have your own site, because these third-party platforms, they do deal with a lot of this BS for you, and you don't end up in this kind of situation. So I don't know, man. I don't know. There's goods and bads. There's goods and bads. I was actually just texting Catch 'em All Collectibles about this, and we were having that same kind of conversation about kind of the ups and downs of like platforms versus your own, doing your own website, these things. And it's definitely something to think about. It's not all good. But hey, I mean, it works for him. It works for others. So I'm happy for them. It's just, I don't know. Going forward, I used, some of the old contacts I had to try and get in touch with the tops of eBay to try to, get into the eBay Live platform. So I'm going to see how that comes into fruition. But it's extremely hard. It's invite only. Even people that have tried to get in or used others that are in to try to get in, it hasn't worked. So it's not like I can just call up like, one of these guys that has eBay Live. Say, hey, give me vouch for me. Can you get me? Because I just did that actually. And they're like, no, I can't. Like, it's just, I've tried it before with other people and they won't let them in. So I'm definitely going to be looking into some other platforms. I don't know if I'm going to continue with my own site forever. Because this is a nightmare. I mean, Wix is a nightmare. That's all I'm going to say about that. Surging Spark's going to be a bust. Hey, every set's going to be a bust, man. You know how the hobby is. All the crazies out there. All right, we'll talk about all this later. We got over 100 people in here now. Let's talk about the main topic of conversation. I'll talk about we'll take the Q&A later on, guys. So any questions you have, you can hold them, and you can ask them at the end, and I'll answer them. But I want to get into this. So taking profits, right? Whenever I talk negatively about selling, it's usually because the selling is based on some kind of emotion, right? If your game plan, right? If you're going in with the goal of, maybe running a business, right? You're trying to make profit. And maybe sometimes those profits are based on shorter term holds, right? A few months, maybe, a year, 2 years, things like that. And, these boxes go up. Like, you bought Paldea at 85 and now it's at 150 and you want to take your profits. But it's part of your existing business model, your existing investment model. That's great. Take those profits, right? Twilight Masquerade, you want to take your profits? Take those profits. Sword and Shield booster boxes, if you're part of your goal is to every time something doubles, you're going to take that money, no matter if it takes 6 months or 3 years, whatever it takes, and you're going to take that money, reinvest it into something new and do the same thing. Great, do that, right? There's nothing wrong with flipping, with running a business, with shorter term investing, with, waiting for boxes to get to 50%, 100% and taking your gain and not, long-term holding, right? And you can't feel guilty about selling and then all of a sudden there's a Evolving Skies or a team-up scenario and you say, I should have held. Well, no, I mean, you can always say that, but your business model works or your investing model works because you're taking shorter term gains and you're trying to kind of play that game of the staying within the sets that are the most popular, that are the most liquid, that have the most drastic moves. And that makes sense, right? So that's a good thing, right? When I talk like negatively about it, it's always based on people selling out of emotions, right? And so in my video, and a lot of people kind of question me about, Alex, what do you mean? Like, is it bad to sell at $200? It depends. If you got into this because you're saying, hey, I want to be a long-term investor, right? And then at the first sign of trouble, you see Sword and Shield slowing down, the interest like going away to Scarlet Violet, back to Sun and Moon XY, and there's not as much emphasis on the alt arts and trainer galleries and booster boxes, and now all of a sudden you're changing your entire like thought process and game plan because of that, because of short-term market moves, market noise, and short-term movements, then yeah, I think it's wrong. I think you need to consider what you're actually doing here. You should never base your investment decisions on what's happening right now, right? On what like the popular things to talk about are, or what the movements day to day, week to week, month to month are. You should base them off the long-term track records of things, what you see happening in the long term. And as long as you continue to still see the path forward, and as long as it still meets the criteria you're looking for, I think you should stick with it. That's why I continue to hold my sword and shield, because I have more of that long-term, mindset. I'm not looking to buy these and flip them as fast as possible to make quick gains. But I'm also not saying it's the wrong thing to do, right? And I think that's another thing people fall into is this imaginary competition, right? It's almost like you're trying to compete against people in Discords or other businesses or other investors, like you're trying to compete to see like who makes the most gains in a certain amount of time on a certain product. And I think that's the worst possible scenario you can fall into in this hobby, is worrying about, well, this guy sold up here and now it's down, so he made a better play because then he moved his money to here and he's doing this. And it's like, you could literally play this game every day. Every day you can wake up and say, I should probably sell this today and buy this today. And sometimes it's going to work out, sometimes it won't. But it's like, if you're going to question every day you hold a product and every purchase you hold and everything you buy and, every second you hold it, I just don't think this is going to be right for you, right? It'd be like literally waking up every day looking at your 401k or your stock portfolio or real estate portfolio or whatever that may be, and question every decision you're holding, every stock you're holding, every property you're holding based on the day-to-day news and day-to-day market movement. And no successful investor has ever done that, right? Warren Buffett doesn't get up and look at Coca-Cola and say, well, Coke's down today. I should have sold it yesterday when it was up. I'd have made more money. Or, you know what? I sold Apple and then Apple went up. I made the wrong decision. I got to rethink everything. It's like, no. You come up with your long-term game plan, you put it into action, and you let it play out the way it plays out. And you can't second guess yourself over every short-term market move, because listen, I was one of the people, I sold Team Up back when it was 700-ish a box. I sold Team Up, okay? I can't think of anything I put my money into. The money I made on Team Up boxes back in 2021, there is basically nothing other than, I guess, Evolving Skies. I think Evolving Skies is probably the only thing that's kept up that's beat Team Up in terms of where it was at. Because Team Up going from 700 to what, 2,500 plus, right? It over tripled it 3.5 times again. There's nothing in Pokemon other than Evolving Skies that's kept up with that amount of gain. Meaning, you may have thought you did the right thing like I did, selling Team Up at $700 a box, and then buying, newer Sword and Shield sets, right? But in reality, all the Sword and Shield sets, other than Evolving Skies, has not outperformed Team Up from where it was at $700, right? And again, you could play this game every single day. I should have sold Fusion Strike at $250. I should have bought, Paldea Evolved with it. I should have bought Twilight Masquerade. I should have sold my Sun and Moon or XY box and done this. And you're just going to you're going to bury yourself with confusion, and it's not going to end up good. And so it kind of goes back to all my advice has always been, stop worrying about what everyone else is doing, right? Because if you're worried about what a business owner is doing compared to what like a short-term flipper is doing, compared to what a shorter-term investor is doing, a longer-term investor, because here's the thing, guys. Another thing you're not understanding, every time you sell, you're incurring some kind of cost. Now, again, unless everyone out there just lists on free platforms like Discord or Instagram and they find someone, right near them and they can just drive over and hand the box off in person and get paid cash and everything's good. All right, fine. But you're going to end up paying some sort of fees somewhere, whether it be, selling fees on eBay, TCG Player, whether it be payment processing fees with goods and services, whether it be shipping, whatever it be. So what I'm saying is when you sell an item, you're already incurring a level of fees and shipping and all that that's already going to come out of that item. Meaning if you buy a box or a case at $600 and you sell it at $1,200, right? It doubled in price. The boxes go from $100 to $200. You doubled in price. You sell it for $1,200. Well, you have to ship that case. You have to pay payment processing fees, maybe selling fees you sold on a major platform. Now that $1,200 looks more like $1,100, $1,050, something like that. So now you only have $1,050 to put to work somewhere else. Now that new item you put that money into, that $1,050 has to grow faster than that $1,200 because you haven't sold yet. And so keeping your capital in one place and not like being in and out, having to pay fees and shipping each time, it can actually be more beneficial. Even if the other item outperforms slightly, it can actually underperform because you had more money stuck in one place than taking down your total investment profit and putting it somewhere else. And so that's always something to think about too. And so, taking profits, again, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to get your dollar cost average lower on it because it lowers your risk. Like right now, right? If you have Paldea Evolve booster boxes and you're worried about a reprint and you think it's gotten too high too fast, right? And you're in, let's say 90 a box, you paid $5.40 a case, okay? And you sell right now at, what is it, 900 a case or something, okay? Well, let's just say you pay some, your fees, your shipping, all that good stuff, and you're left with, I don't know, around $800, I don't know, $775 or whatever. Well, one thing you did, right, even if you're not putting that money to work, keeping it in cash right now, here's what you did right away, right? If you cleared $775, okay, and you paid, $5.40 for the case, well, now you're already up. What is that? $335? No, $235. So you're already up now $235, meaning if you had two cases, you can subtract that $235 off that remaining case and bring your cost basis on that case down to like what? $5.40 minus $235, you can bring it down to like $305. So now, technically, you're only in that other case for $305, meaning they could reprint Paldea into the freaking ground. It could drop like, Roaring Skies and Primal Clash did. It could be like a Fusion Strike Chilling Reign reprint. It could go to $75 a box, go to $450 a case. You're still up like $150 on that case because you got your cost basis so low. So that's one thing I am in favor of. If you have large positions, you have multiple boxes, multiple cases, and you do want to take some money off the table to reduce your risk, it can always be a good idea. You reduce your exposure, you bring your cost basis down on the remaining products you have, and you take your risk basically down to zero. With all intents and purposes, it's basically zero with the history of this hobby. We haven't seen a modern booster box, X, Y, and forward. We haven't seen a modern box go under the 70s open market. So you basically take your risk down to zero if you're doing that. And so that's the one thing you can do, right? Another thing you can do if you just, really feel like these boxes have reached a wall where they're not going to pass for a while, like say Sword and Shield, and you're like, hey, I paid $480 for this Fusion Strike case. Now it's going for $2 something. I'm just going to sell it, take all those profits. I'm going to put it into some Scarlet Violet era product because I think Scarlet Violet Paradox Rift is going to double before, Fusion Strike gets to like $440, $480 again, or for the first time. And that's also definitely, I get it. It's a good route to go. You can definitely do very well doing that, but just don't come back at the end and say, oh, I should have held and beat yourself up for it, right? Understand what your goals are and make decisions based on those goals. Dealing with losses is kind of going to be the other side of that, right? You can deal with losses in a few different ways, all right? First up, let's talk about Shrouded Fable because Shrouded Fable is, hold on, guys, got a super chat. Let's see what Diego said. Diego says, what happens if CT scanners become more accessible and common? What would happen to sealed product market? Diego, I actually did a whole video on this. If you search my channel, go search my channel. It's I can actually do it live. Let me do it live real quick. I actually made an entire video on this, so you don't have to worry. The math doesn't add up after a certain age, and let me just go ahead and find the video for you. It should be a big CT scan thing in the title or the thumbnail. I'm trying. Yeah, right here. All right, let me share the screen real quick. This is gonna be my back end, but this is what the video looked like. This is what it looks like. Here's the thumbnail, and it's called "Proof Pokemon Investments will not be affected by CT scanning." And basically, what I do in that video is I take into account that CT scanning is free. If you had one right in your living room, basically once boxes reach a certain age and the boxes become so much more like separated from the single cost that they're so much more expensive than the singles. I even took I think I took examples of like base set, team up, I took a bunch of examples, Flash Fire, Evolving Skies, and basically how it ended up working out is even if you scanned the box for free, opened it up, right? Took that one pack out, opened it, pulled the hit, and then sold off the other 35 packs at market value, and then sold off that single raw. After shipping and fees and everything, you basically wouldn't even profit, even if scanning was free. Now, there's a couple newer boxes now, like Evolving Skies and like Champions Path. There's a few newer ones that are still new, where the box price doesn't outweigh the single price, where you can actually scan the box, pull the one hit, sell that, and then sell off the 36 loose packs, so you can make some profit. The issue with that is those cards are so hard to find that to scan Evolving Sky, even if the scanning was like $5, you would, on average, you'd have to go through like 20 to 30 Evolving Skies boxes just to find one Moonbryon. And after that, and shipping the cases and boxes to the scanning company, getting them shipped back to you, selling off the loose packs, pulling that one Moonbryon, doing it, it just doesn't make sense. Really, the only way to make money in it is grading it a 10, and hopefully you pull a 10 quality card. So it's kind of just a grading play on steroids. So that's you can watch that video, give you a good idea of what my feelings are on that. But no, I don't think it's going to have that big of an effect. I think people don't realize is boxes become so much more expensive than the cards inside, and single collectors, they don't get this. They think there's something wrong with that. Like, oh, it's because it's manipulated or whatever. It's like, no. Sealed boxes become valued on the collectability of the box itself and the sealed nature, the mint nature. It itself is the collectible, not the cards inside anymore. Like, put it this way. This box, this is the collectible to me. I could care less if a Latios is in this set. I don't care if a Gengar Mimikyu's in here. I want the sealed box. This is what I pay money for. I don't pay money for it in hopes there's a hit inside, because I have no desire to ever open it. I'm going to keep it sealed forever, right? And so that's where the disconnect usually comes with single collectors over sealed collectors. They don't understand each other. And so that's for that. But anyway, going back to the losses, guys. I want to talk about losses. So Shrouded Fable's a great example. And by the way, Kryptonite Cards, thanks so much for the 10 gifted memberships. Everyone, thank him for your membership if you got gifted one. And yeah, Godly Shad, like Emerging Powers, one of the worst sets ever created. It's still thousands of dollar box, and it has 0 you can hit inside. Even the graded cards have 0. Like, put it this way, guys, Darkness Ablaze, I just sold, okay? I just sold a PSA 10 Charizard VMAX from Darkness Ablaze for like $80 or less. Meaning, the box is $150. The best hit you can pull in a PSA 10 is worth $80. It doesn't make sense, right? But the box is still $150. And that's kind of the same scenario going further and further back. It's not about the singles, it's about the sealed nature of the box and how scarce they become. That's what affects the price. But, okay, so getting into losses. Shrouded Fable's a perfect example, right? Because with Shrouded Fable right now, it doesn't matter if you bought from distribution, it doesn't matter where you bought from, you're down. You're taking a loss on it if you want to sell it, right? And same thing goes, for Pokemon Go or Shining Fates. Mostly, a lot of these boxes that people bought and they sell them. They're basically taking losses. So the first thing you have to think about is, do I actually believe in this set long term? And do I think it's going to do well enough long term to make sense to hold it? Okay. Or does it make sense to sell it, to eat the loss right now, because I can put that money to work better somewhere else, right? Because so like right now, I think Shrouded Fable cases are down in like the low 300s, and even distribution was like low 300s. And so shipping fees, you're down. So your question needs to be, is it smart to eat $10, $20, $30 in loss a case and take that money and put it to work in something I feel is going to do better? Or do I hold that and just hope it comes up in the future? Do I still believe it and think it's going to do well later? And sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no. Guys, you guys famously remember my Pokemon Go debacle. I really believed in Pokemon Go. It didn't work out my way. I did dump a lot of my cases at break even to a loss to some at a slight profit. I was selling them all over the place. So the ones I sold on Instagram or Facebook Marketplace, those were in the profit. And then the ones I sold on eBay TCG Player, those were at a loss because the fees and shipping wrecked me. And so I made the decision to sell off most of that position because I felt the money could be better used elsewhere than holding a Pokemon Go. And it was the right decision, right? I took losses at the time, but I put a lot of that money into sets like, Brilliant Stars and Lost Origin and Silver Tempest and, all these types of things we see now that are doing well. And so I made a lot more money off that money than if I would have held it all in Pokemon Go. And you have to be able to make those tough choices. I know like the kind of like, normal rhetoric is, Well, just hold longer, right? Hold 3 to 5 years, Alex. Hold 5 to 10 years. You just didn't hold long enough. Like, technically, I get it. I get what you're saying. The longer you hold, the more chance it has to go up. But people that have taken that advice have done very poorly in times, right? If you took that advice on some stocks, well, some stocks end up going bankrupt, right? Some Pokemon product, especially when it's not booster boxes, it doesn't move. And even when it does move, it's very small amounts of move. And so it's not always the right decision to hold forever, right? Now, again, you want to be careful not to get in that whole mindset of like always trying to compete to see who had the best investment, right? Because then you're going on a dark road where you're never going to win, right? Because someone's always got a better investment out there. But as long as you make the decision and it's based on, a good amount of analysis and, it's not a emotional or short-term decision and you think it's just the best use for your money, I have no problem with taking losses and selling like that. Another thing about taking losses is obviously you can use losses as write-offs against your profits on other items. So items that you've done well on, you can use those losses to, reduce your profits, reduce your tax bill, things like that, which, can make sense to take losses in those terms as well too. But I understand the mindset of not wanting to take a loss and wanting to just hold out. And that can be good too. But what my point is that when you look at this hobby, right? If a box or a card or something hasn't moved in the first 5 years, 3 to 5 years, it's usually going to have a pretty difficult time. Not moving up. I'm not saying it's never going to move up, but performing as well as what like a popular item or a sought after box is going to perform. And so you have to kind of do that analysis to where it's like my chances are better moving the money here, even after eating the fees and shipping and the loss, than it is holding it in the same place. And so I'm not saying you're always going to be right. You could definitely be wrong, but I do feel like there is times to take losses. And there's also times to hold. So I'm not, again, none of this is like direct advice. None of this is like you can use it in every single scenario. Everything has to be like kind of thought of it at taken by case basis. But like right now, Shrouded Fable, it is getting crushed, and the release was botched. It's not a loved set. People are already moving on to Stellar Crown and Surging Spark because they were released so close to each other. This seems to me like it could be a set that could sit for a very long time. And so I don't know if I'd want a lot of money tied up in it. And I'm going through that same debate in my head right now of just dumping the cases that I have left because they're not really that sought after to be opened on breaks. And I'm not about pushing, because like my audience that does show up to my pack breaks, I'm not about pushing things that people don't like to be opened. And so if people don't like it, I'll just sell it and lick my wounds and come back another day. And so it's definitely something to think about. But yeah, guys, don't let losses scare you, because any investor has taken a loss. And I don't care who they are. Warren Buffett's taken a loss, right? And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Like, there's real estate investors that take losses based on, the area just, kind of goes down and crime rates rise and then the values of the homes or buildings go down, right? Or, they have renters that completely screw them or destroy their homes or don't pay their rent and squat and all that. And so real estate goes through this. The stock market goes through this all the time where, companies just other companies come apart or come around and they disrupt the industry. And then the stocks you were holding, start failing because they don't adapt. And, you want to hold on for the long term, but you end up going down with the ship like Blockbuster or something. And so, there are times to pivot, but never do it on emotion, never do it in like a rash, timing, and never, just like, again, don't pay attention to like the day-to-day, like market noise and news and things like that. Make sure it's a decision based on actual, like you analyzing, where you see things headed in the future and what could compromise or what could comprise a rise compared to a period of stagnation. And if you just don't feel confident that it's going to rise in the time period you're comfortable with, it might be time to sell. That's all there is to it. But yeah, guys, that's kind of my whole stance on like taking profits and also like dealing with losses. Is profits are never bad to take, right? And anyone like, obviously we all screw with each other. Like I would say don't take too much online seriously. Like when someone sells, people call them paper hands or, you're not a real investor, you be holding and all that BS. Like, guys, don't pay attention to all that stupid stuff. Everyone's financial situation is different. Everyone's goals are different. If you, are in a place where, taking those profits is going to do a lot for you, you're going to build your collection out more. You're going to be able to buy more of the newer sets you believe in more. You need the money for something else in life. And you don't want to risk losing it at this point. Like, no one's ever, lost money by getting up from the table, right? Like if you're playing a shoe of blackjack and you start with $100, now you're at 1,000 and they shuffle and they're about to deal a new shoe, right? You can leave right then because that's your money now, right? You don't get in that mindset of saying, well, I'm only in this $100, right? No. You have $1,000. You have $1,000 right now. You can choose to continue to play or you can choose to leave, right? Now, if you continue to play and you lose $500 and then leave, you can convince yourself, well, I'm up $400. No, you were up 400, but you just lost 500. Well, no, it wasn't actually mine. No, it was yours. And that's how it is right now. It's just like, guys, if you want to hold long-term, plan on holding long-term. But if you don't sell things and, something happens, downturn in the economy, huge reprint, whatever, then yeah, losing unrealized gains is the same as losing money, right? Because right now, right this very second, you can realize that gain, right? Right this second, I can list this team up box at auction and I know it's going to sell in the 2000s. I can realize that money right now. If that box drops down to like 1,500, it doesn't matter what I paid for. It doesn't matter if I paid $100 for it and I can convince myself I'm 1,400 up. No. I still lost about $1,000 in depreciation because I didn't sell. And so there is always a period where it can make sense to sell depending on your scenario, on your situation and your goals. And so listen, if your goals are to buy every new box, wait till it doubles, take your profits, do that. If your goals are to hold, long-term because you don't want to do a lot of work, you want to let your money grow for you, do that. And don't worry about the reprints, the ups and downs, the stagnation of Sword and Shield. Don't even worry about it until 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years gets here because a lot of crazy stuff's going to happen. Things are going to go up and down and sideways and do all kind of swirls and whirligigs. Don't worry about all this stupid stuff if your idea is long-term because it's not going to matter long-term. Guys, if we wanted to go back and look at Sun and Moon and XY and all the ridiculous, crazy news and ups and downs and reprints and low prints and late reprints and all this stuff that's happened, and you could have drove yourself crazy thinking about, should I buy it today? Should I sell it today? Buy, sell, hold, I don't know what to do. And guess what? Time went on, and now we're, 5, 7, 9, 10 years into those sets, and they're all up. They're all stabilizing. They're all doing good. They're slowly, still steadily moving up. I did a video earlier this year about how last year XY and Sun and Moon was still growing at like 20, 30% each across the entire board. So they're still moving up very well. And so don't overthink this stuff, right? And don't worry about what everyone else is doing or saying. You're not in competition with anyone else. This is the last thing I want to talk about before I take some questions is it's always going to be higher risk, higher reward in investing. And so when people are talking about gains they've made and how they outperformed your gains, most every point of the time, they took on more risk. You see what I'm saying? And so yeah, if someone says well, I did, 100% the time that your stuff grew 25%, well, what were you doing? Well, I was buying singles and grading singles, and I made this play cracking this vintage card in a 9.5, and I graded it a 10, and I did this and that. It's like, dude, you did it. First of all, you were working the whole time. Second of all, you took on all kinds of unnecessary risk. I bought a box at $85, $90, $95 when we've never seen modern booster boxes go very far under that. My risk level was so low. The ease of transactions were so easy to buy and sell at the end. And I didn't have to do anything. I let the boxes sit on the shelf for 2-3 years. They rose in value and I shipped them out and it was over. And so it's understand that in order to make those higher levels of percentage gain, you're going to have to incur more risk, usually do more work, and kind of step outside the box. And so if people try to make you feel like lesser than for your collection or investments and how it's not growing at the speed of theirs, always ask those questions because I guarantee most of the time they're doing something different, right? And that's why it doesn't bother me when people say, "Oh, Alex, man, I'm a flipper, man. I made this X amount last year." It's just oh, that's cool, man. So how many of those grading, orders did you send in that didn't go well that you basically had to flip all those 9s and 8s and things and barely profit or break even just to get to your next order, right? Or how many, Japanese 151 boxes were you holding when you paid $150 for them and the market crashed and you had to just fire sell them all and take a whole bunch of losses that offset a lot of the gains you made on the other boxes? Do you want to tell anyone about that? No, because everyone always makes money in this hobby, right? That's the other biggest lie, guys. That is the biggest lie. Do not buy into this. Everyone, it's like a gambler. It's like a bad gambler who goes to the casino every day, right? And they come home and they don't say a word. Then the one time they win, they come home and they're like, "Oh, I won $5,000. You're like, dude, you've been going there for a month. How much have you lost? Well, I made 5,000. And I'm not comparing selling Pokemon cards to gambling. What I'm saying is everyone is going to tell you about their wins and their good plays. No one wants to talk about all the work they put into just breaking even on a bad order, or the losses that they took, or buying in at the wrong time. Now they're sitting down in their investments. No one wants to talk about that. They just want to talk about the good stuff. And then it gives you this warped Instagramification view of just the snapshots that are good about their business or their life or their investments. And it makes you feel lesser than, like you could be doing more, like you're doing something wrong. Don't buy into it, guys. It's internet bullshit. Don't buy into it. No one's doing as good as they're acting like, right? There's very few people that are uber successful in this industry. The rest of the people, they're kind of getting by. They're doing well, but they do a lot of work, and there's a lot of different stresses and a lot of different risks you take on. There's dead inventory. There's, things that just won't sell, that drop while you're grading them, or they drop while you own them. And, profit margins disappear very quickly in this industry. And, a lot of the times people are selling things for break even, for losses, for very small profits, just to get to the things that actually do produce good profits. And so don't fall into that trap of worrying about what everyone else is doing, because everyone else isn't even doing what they say they're doing. And so that's basically my biggest advice for you. Be okay taking profits. Be okay taking losses. Just make sure you understand why you're doing them, and you're gonna be okay. So that's my spiel for today. That's my live stream, guys. It's gonna be a shorter one today because I do have a lot of work to do. I spent all morning dealing with this stupid Wix chargeback situation, so I do have a lot of work. So I'm probably not gonna be on for like a 2-hour stream like normal, but I will take some questions if you guys have any, and we can go on about our week and have a good one. Have a good week, everybody. It's gonna be a fun week. All right, what do we got? Yeah, I mean, people, I love like Godly Shad. People already talking about Surging Spark being a bust. It's so funny. I told you guys, if you watch my video, right? Peak hype is when the trademark is pulled, when the set's announced, and then you get to the leaks where everyone's gonna find something wrong with it. And then you get to actual release where we'll actually find out how much people like it based on openings, based on single prices. And then, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, it'll be, whatever it ends up being, $130, $150, $170, $200 a box. And everyone will forget about all this stupid news cycle. Don't worry about this stupid stuff, guys. Stay the course. Stay the course. Oh, it sucks, Caesar. I wish you would have came up and said hi, man. I wish I would have met you there. I'll be in Chicago if you end up going to Chicago. Hidden Fates, the most hoarded set. Uh-oh. Hey, have you guys seen Hidden Fates? It's about to hit $200 a box. I tried to tell you. Last month, I made it my top 5 investments of what was it, of August? Yeah, I think of August. Top 5 investments of August. Let me go pull it up real quick. I talked about this on another live stream, but I do wanna at least bring it up because I think it's funny of where the market is at now. It just, things move so quick. If you blink, sometimes you miss it. And so if you're trying to play that, that non-investment game or that quick flipping game, you can definitely miss these types of things. But let me go ahead and, yeah, top 5 investments of August. When I made that video, Hidden Fates was like 170s in ETB. And now let's go ahead and pull it up. So here's the video right here. The top 5 investments of August 2024. This was 3 weeks ago. So 3 weeks ago, this was right here. Like in the mid 170s 3 weeks ago. And now look, the lowest one's 194.89. And we have sales at 189, 192. This is 150, probably with shipping or something. So we already have it moving up a good 10%. Good 10%. There's only 1, 2, 3 available under $200. And then we will officially have a $200 Hidden Fates ETB once again. It's nice to see. It's nice to see. Ooh, the jumbo cards. I do know people have made good moves grading those. There is money to be made on the jumbos. But it's few and far between. You got to really know what you're doing, and you have to be okay with sitting on inventory. I don't think they do that great at auction. I think they're more of those things that like you're waiting for the right buyer. So as long as you like have them in stock and someone's looking for it and no one else has it on the market, you're in luck type thing. So yeah, just it's a niche thing. And so just I wouldn't go like too deep into it, but that might make sense to pick up some jumbos and try that play. Johnny, I appreciate all the love, man. Thank you. Appreciate the insight, keeping it real. Maybe not popular opinions, but you're spot on. Appreciate that, dude. I'm glad it's helping. Greetings from Germany. You made me start my own YouTube channel. Thanks so much. Card Crew. Guys, check out Card Crew. They have their own channel now. Happy to hear it, dude. I'm going to change my profile name to Evil Scalper. A lot of people getting chargebacks on eBay too. Yeah, I mean, the thing with eBay though, right? When you have an issue with like one person, one buyer, one chargeback or one refund or something, they neutralize it to just that person or just that transaction. What Wix has done is made one person with charging back multiple purchases. They've shut down my entire payments for all my account from everybody. Right? They're not just holding payments that were charged back. They're not even just holding payments from that one person. They're holding all my payments. And as you guys know, I don't make huge margins on these pack breaks. So most of the money in there is not profit. It's all just material costs that, if you buy something for $100 and you sell it for $110, $120, you have 10 or 20 bucks profit. So you have 110, 120 total revenue, but only 10, 20 of it's profit. So a lot of the money, the $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 locked up in there now is all capital that I don't have to use anymore. And so it's starting to create a strain where I have to start actually, worrying about it because I can't keep accepting payments if they're not going to pay me. So it's really causing some issues with my business. I haven't figured out how I'm going to combat it this week. If I'm going to have to do some streams through Whatnot, unfortunately, or if I'm going to just accept PayPal for the time being. It's a mess. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's an absolute mess. The way these credit card companies and these websites do business is absolutely atrocious. And I have nothing good to say about it. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So if anyone's thinking about starting their own site, understand this is a real life scenario. You could go through a time where you get none of your money because one person screws with you. So, be warned about that with the whole your own website thing. May not be cut out for everybody. Change my mic to a better one. I mean, so it's a Blue Yeti, dude. Yeah, it's set on Blue Yeti. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's sorry, just came unplugged. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. It should be okay. Honestly, though, I do support you. Why else am I watching? But here's the but. You sell enough to buy your own domain and have your own checkout service on that website. You do, man. You should do it. Well, no, that's what I'm doing, dude. That's the issue. I'm having the issue on my own domain. It's not. I've been selling on eBay for 13 years, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth. I've never once been through this issue. Never once on TCG Player, never once on Whatnot. And so these are issues that third-party platforms kind of have safeguards for that you don't have on your own site. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like I said, I talked in the beginning. I know Brian Pokieni is really pro your own website. I'm not as much anymore. Like I understand his scenario. I understand his reasoning. I respect him for it. It's just I'm not as much on that bandwagon because of the protections the third-party websites give you. Yeah, Johto Collectibles. Yeah. I think they might have sold out of the Obsidian Flames cases, though. Yo, MJ, I appreciate you, man. Favorite Pokemon YouTuber. That's saying something, man. That's a compliment of compliments right there. Appreciate you. I was going to buy a website domain for my Pokemon LLC, and I have been holding off since hearing your story. Interested in your direction. Yeah, I haven't decided on a direction yet. I'm still kind of in limbo with it, but it's definitely weighing into my decision making going forward. And so that's why I'm trying to exhaust every contact I have to get in contact with the right people at eBay Live. because I love to just be through eBay. To be honest with you, I think the eBay Live platform works good, and I like the backing of eBay as a company. I've never had an issue with eBay because I probably would like them more than like a Whatnot or a Drip. Yeah, I mean, for now, I'm gonna stick with my own website. I don't like the world we're in now, guys. Is it's business bad. People are the good guys, no matter if they're evil or not, right? It's like we developed this culture where anyone who has a business is evil, right? They're the big mean business owner, and so no matter what, it's always like the blame is always put on you first. And it's almost like guilty till proven innocent. You have to prove your innocence instead of look at your track record and say, well, this guy's done 1,500 orders. He's done 6 figures in sales on this site. And he's had one person now charge back like 10 things. Could it be this person's the problem and not him? No, they don't look at that. They just look at, well, 10 chargebacks in the last month. You must be the issue. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, it's such a bad way of doing business, but that's where we're at. And so I have to make my decisions based on that going forward. It sucks. Why can't you find my eBay store? Nostalgianomics? Here, best way, man. Dustin, best way to find my eBay store, guys. It's the easiest way to find it. Just go to my website, right? So I'll leave this in the chat right now. Hold on, let me go to the actual video. Hold on. All right, so there's my website, right? The easiest way to find the eBay store is go to the website and just click right here. Right here. Just click that, and it brings you right to the eBay store. That's it. That's as easy as it is. So that's probably the best way to find it. I do think there's some logic to sell into the momentum. My logic for selling Fusion Strike 6 months ago was due to the free advertisement I was getting from all the YouTubers and Discords pumping it. Oh, that's so true, man. That is so true. I think we've seen the hobby is extremely momentum based. Absolutely. That's kind of my whole reasoning why I'm so pro modern, is that this hobby is based on, based on the news, the advertisement you get from Pokemon itself, the advertisement you get from all the YouTubers and all the kind of news happening all around the hobby, what's talked about every day. And so it makes the most sense. It's where the attention is, and that's where the most money is spent. And yeah, I mean, into momentum swings like that, where a ton of money's pouring into something all at once, it definitely makes sense to take profits if that's what you're looking to do. So I get it. I 100%, I get anyone taking profits, and it makes sense if that's more of your model. PSA 10 ponchos? I don't know, man. Those have been having massive run-ups again. It's dangerous. Again, it depends on who you ask, right? Me, I'm way too conservative of an investor. And I know when I say that, people hear that and they laugh because they're like, you're investing in freaking cardboard, dude. If you're conservative, why don't you put it in like an S&P index or a CD? It's like, okay, look, we can talk about our different beliefs in this hobby. I believe that a Pokemon booster box at $90 is as safe or safer than those things. My personal belief, not saying it is, not investment advice. But so for me, I'm more conservative. Like, instead of paying thousands of dollars for one of these PSA 10 ponchos on a straight speculation, I'd rather put thousands of dollars into Scarlet Violet cases at $90 because I've seen a consistent track record with those. Whereas ponchos, they've been all over the place. Like, you might buy it today, you might be down 30% in a month. Like, you just don't know. So I don't really go the direction of those crazy speculations, but you can do well with them. All right, so selling Hidden Fates for 163 years ago was the play. It's been dead money. Yeah, 100%. Hidden Fates has not performed well at all. Again, like, everything has to be a case-by-case basis. Every single thing just has to be a case-by-case basis because, we could say, what was Team Up, Unified Minds, Unbroken Bonds, and Cosmic Eclipse at, or Ultra Prism at, 3 years ago? And how have those performed compared to, sets that were released 3 years ago, brand new sets, right? So what that would have been like Darkness Ablaze, Vivid Voltage, Battle Styles time. You could argue that all those Sun and Moon boxes have performed better than a lot of those sets. And so it's just like, it's got to be a case-by-case basis. You're never going to be right all the time. Just have a strategy that works for you and stick with it and don't look back. Don, what's going on, man? Don't know if you're still here or not. I know this was a while ago. What is this, like 30 minutes ago? But what's up, dude? Sorry, guys. I'm going to do my best to catch up with the chat this time. Let me try to get through this. I think Sword and Shield will continue to pump for a while, but still can't fault anyone for selling. Yeah, I agree. Alex sniffed the grass and went to a calm place. Do you guys like that? Like that short? Just go touch some grass, man. So Godly Shad, like my opinions are different on these. I don't necessarily think loose packs have as big of an effect on booster boxes. They have more an effect on like ETBs and other products that don't hold a sealed premium. Booster boxes always hold a premium because they become collectible. The best, example of this is like Cosmic Eclipse. Cosmic Eclipse packs are still far undervalued compared to the box price, but the box keeps rising. Evolving Skies packs, right? You can buy Evolving Skies packs for what, like $13, $14 times 36? That's nowhere near $700. And it's because the boxes become scarce and collectible. And it's the same thing with the singles. People do not buy the boxes to get the lowest pack price when they're older and collectible. People don't buy the boxes to open them and try to pull the cards. So the price per pack, the price per singles, they don't go into my mind as should I buy older boxes for investability. I look at how big the print runs are, how scarce it seems out there, how much is available on the market. And that's what kind of goes into my determination on how these boxes can perform. Because single pack prices, man, I don't think it affects the booster boxes as much as you might think. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. The eBay link's an affiliate link, guys. So the eBay link I post in the chat usually, or the comment section, it's an affiliate link. If you're gonna, I don't like to push it, but I leave it there. If you're already planning on buying something, it's a way that it costs you nothing, and I usually get like a small percentage of like any customer I send to eBay, like 1% or something. And so it's a way for you to support the channel with literally costing you nothing more than what you were already going to spend. So that's all that link is. That's not my actual like eBay store. There's another link in my description where my eBay store is. Sorry about the confusion there. Real talk, a few years back, I subscribed to a few PokeTubers. Now I only listen to you. Uh-oh, that might be a little scary, though. Because in 95% of the cases, what you're saying works, and I really think a Pokemon Go. No, Pokemon Go is just fun to talk about, for real. Alex and Leonardo DiCaprio, the math doesn't add up after a certain age. Oh, man, Leo. Scanning will probably only gain traction on the back end side with resale companies such as reputable auction houses to do random sample checking for resales. Maybe that, and then like if you already have loose like heavy packs, it's going to get affected heavily, right? Because if the box is already ripped and you already have the heavy packs, you're not going to like deteriorate the value anymore. So you might as well send them in, get scanned, and make sure you don't have that big chase card before you sell the heavy packs type thing, where it's kind of scumming, I get, but it's just, that's the world we're living in now. So it's going to affect the already opened boxes, but to open a sealed box just to pull a hit that doesn't even add up to the box price, even after selling the packs, like put it this way, guys, a base set booster box is like $15,000 to $17,000. The Charizard in a PSA 9, meaning a mint card, and in the PSA 10 population, it's very low. It's very hard to get a 10, especially these days. A PSA 9 is only worth like $1,100, $1,200. Okay, meaning after selling all 35 packs and the Charizard and a 9, you don't even have anywhere close to your money back for the box. So basically, you're just opening the box, hoping. And say you scan the box, you know what Charizard's in there. You're just hoping you grade that Charizard a 10 to make money. Because if you don't, you'll lose. And that's going to be the case for a lot of sets, especially as things age. Where like even Team Up, right? The Latios is only like $800-900 in raw, right? And so you do the math and you're like, what do Team Up packs go for? About $55. So $55 times 35 is $19.25. add in an $800 Latias Latios, that's $27.25. That's basically what the sealed box is going for. But then you have to do all the work of selling off all those packs and selling off the card and it's much harder to move all that than it is to move a sealed box because it's more sought after. And so I don't see it becoming a thing. The older things get, the more the boxes are going to be, and the singles usually don't keep up with the price of the box. So I don't know. I just don't see it becoming a big deal. My opinion, though, we'll see if I'm wrong. We will see. I just came back from touching grass. I hated it. What's good, Fernando? Hope you're doing good today. I'm doing good. Selling all my Evolving Skies because Alex said to. Rip your comments. Sell it all. Believe it or not, I had 140 ETBs of Shining Fates and Pogo. I bought 25 each. Obviously, bad investment after shipping and fees. So I found an LGS that traded 80%, so I've been trading for cases. Hey, not a bad idea. I get it. I get it. No one's ever went poor taking profits. 100%. New waifu is surging even better than Carmine. What set, Ethan? What set are we talking about? Hi, Alex. I want to make a big investment soon, but what is your opinion on investing in overhyped sets like upcoming Team Rocket? Well, here's the thing. I think they usually do very well short term. I think midterm they usually are the ones that get reprinted, sometimes the heaviest. But then I think long term they actually do some of the best too. So I mean, I think Evolving Skies is always going to be one of the best sets. I think sets that got reprinted. Brilliant Stars got reprinted. Lost Origin got reprinted. Lost Origin had a lot of supply hit the market and it jumped right back up and it's surging. And so, obviously you're going to have more ups and downs usually because more prints is going to hit the market. But I think long term, you should be pretty well on the best sets. As long as it has other things that are good, like the hits are hard to pull. There are, singles that are chasing the set. It is getting opened and disappearing from the market at a good enough rate to become scarce, things like that. Silver Tempest, yeah. I mean, I made a video about it. I think it's still a good pickup. I think that Lugia is always going to be chased after. I think, times are just, again, Sword and Shield's out of favor. The All-Stars are out of favor. And I think there will become a time when they come back in favor and those boxes do very well. It's one of those things where, in this hobby, people, they write it off as like manipulation or whatever. But these things don't move linear. And it's one of those things where you'll see like a box sit at 140s, 150s, 160s, and then all of a sudden it'll jump to like 210 in the matter of like a month. And all the supply disappears from the market all at once. And then sellers see this and they start upping the price of it and it just moves. And it's not because it's manipulated. It's because when demand all comes back to something and realizes something, or it gets pointed out by in large groups and a lot of people agree, it can get bought very quickly. And so, yeah, I think it's one of those things that it might sit for a minute, but then it'll probably move quickly all at once. I don't know about the difficulty of grading jumbos. I've never graded them. I've never really looked into it, so I don't really know too much about that side of things. It's kind of more niche, like pack grading. Pack grading's the same way. I still don't know what they look for in pack grading. It doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, if you can grade PSA 10 packs of certain sets, and there's profit to be made. I just don't really know. I mean, I know PSA puts their parameters out there, but I just don't know how hard it is or how much they stick to that on a lot of those things. Should I sell my 200 Fusion Strike booster packs, then buy sealed booster boxes of Fusion Strike, or should I just keep what I have? That's hard, man, because if you sell, right, you're eating those shipping and fees and everything. I like booster boxes more, but if you already have the packs, it might make sense to just keep those instead of going through all the work and trouble and fees and shipping to get rid of them. And then if you're not tax exempt, you're paying taxes on a new box and getting even further behind. So yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one. Depending on how easy it is for you to move them and how cheaply you can move them without fees, shipping, things like that, and how effective you could be at buying, no taxes, getting under market on boxes, really depends on if you should move into them or not. Sorry, it's kind of a non-answer, but there's too many variables, right? Celebrations UPCs, I mean, they have dropped a lot. Really hard. That gold medal Charizard is always going to be a chase. That Celebrations Charizard sells like that every time I get it. I mean, I just sold one. I just got my PSA order back last week. I listed the Charizard a little above market, and it sold immediately. I mean, I wonder if I can go check my sales on eBay. If I hit sold on my page, if it shows my sales. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here's my sales recently. So like, here's a 151 Charizard that just moved for me. I literally just listed this last week, already sold. There, I told you, look, under $80 for a Charizard VMAX, crazy. But there it is, $180. $180 people are still paying for Celebration Charizard. This was listed for like a day or two, literally a day or two. And it just moved that quickly. So yeah, that's Celebration. And it's not the metal one, that's the regular one. But yeah, the metal one is even crazier. So, I mean, it's one of those things where they could catch fire going into the 30th anniversary, or maybe we've just seen the top of Celebrations, going back to what Godly Shads talks about. Maybe the time to sell Celebrations was when all the hype was going crazy and those things were going to $400. I mean, you could have moved the money into something else. We may have all made a mistake holding Celebrations then. It's so hard to tell, not having all the information of the future, right? 1-2 years from now, we look back and say, can you believe we sold Celebrations? Now the ETBs are 120, the UPCs are 500-600. What were we thinking? But yeah, I don't know. Buying one right now, I mean, I will say it is good you're buying into the downturn. I like that. That's one thing I'll say. I like the fact that UPCs are down right now and you're thinking about buying. That makes more sense than buying when they're up. Surging Sparks, a bust. We only know half the set. He had to be joking, I think. The new waifu is surging. New waifu. Is it worth investing in Sun and Moon ETBs? I don't know. ETBs are rough, right? It's obviously just a collectible item. The price per pack on those is absolutely astronomical. Like it's way more than booster boxes in a lot of the cases, because they were more of a scarce product. Are they scarce enough to continue to move up at a good enough rate to outperform other things? I don't know. I don't know how much of those prices were because of you'd have to. Here's the thing. I haven't dug into this lately enough. I've continued to pay attention to XY and Sun and Moon booster boxes, and they've continued to rise ever since the COVID and the crash afterwards. So I know those are up more than just because of COVID. I don't know how often ETBs sell or how much they've moved up since 2021. So that would be what I would look into if I was thinking about buying those, is look at and see if a lot of the gains were made prior to 2020 or at 2021, or if they've still continued to do well and trend up afterwards. If they have, maybe they are going to continue to do well in the future. I'm just not much of an ETB investor. So because of that, I don't pay attention to a lot of those older markets as much as I should. But I'll definitely do that and be able to hopefully answer that question better in the future, because I am kind of curious to know how they've been doing. I noticed when talking to certain streamers at Collecticon, they like to use the word make and throw around the gross sales numbers as its profit. RF Collectibles, you are preaching to the choir here, man. That is my single biggest pet peeve about every YouTuber, every streamer, anyone in comments or Discords or Reddits or Instagrams. They only talk revenue and sales. And that's all they'll show. That's all they'll talk about. And I get it, right? It's a way to, show the biggest number and make it look like you're ultra successful in your business, moving all kind of product. But here's the reality of it, right? I've got outlets to buy, and I have outlets to sell large quantities if I want to. I could literally, if I want to prove a point, I could easily move multiple 7 figures of product a year and break even, lose a little, maybe make a little, probably not make any money. But just for the sake of the experiment, I could literally buy $2 million in product a year and then sell it all for 2 million or 1.9 something million and lose money. But then I could say, hey guys, I did 2 million in sales last year. So what? It's meaningless, right? You could have someone doing $1 million in sales and someone else doing 400 grand in sales and the 400 grand person making more. Is that crazy? Because if the person doing 400 grand it has better profit margins and they're more effective with their business and they're making higher margin plays, they're just doing less of it, they could actually move less supply and make more money. And so, guys, that is always gonna be my biggest advice. Always focus on the profits, not on the sales. The sales is just a fugazi number. It's meaningless. It's really meaningless because if you don't know what the profit margins are on those sales, what's the point, right? I mean, if someone's moving $1 million of sealed English booster boxes and they're making like $2 a box, that's nowhere near the same as moving $1 million of graded slabs where your margins are going to be way higher, way higher. Or like doing $1 million of like pack break openings or like live whatnot selling of singles and collections and things that you bought at 70% and you're selling it around market value. Or, the vending profits compared to online profits. So it's like, there's so many different variables that go into that. I've talked about it multiple times. That's one of the biggest things I hate about the hobby is the lack of transparency in the businesses to show profits and not sales. Because as anyone that runs a business knows, sales, it's just a top line number to show how much revenue you brought in. I mean, every business is, depending on how good or bad it's run, is going to have a different number at the bottom. I'll tell you this thing. You can take 100 business owners that all do exactly $1 million in sales, and every one of them is going to have a different profit they made. Every one of them. That's how you know it's all fugazi. How do you track what you paid for in products? Just Excel spreadsheets, whatever the receipt purchase order was. Just record it. Pretty easy. Well. If it isn't Alex, the Japanese investing whale, dropping in to say thank you for the content. When do you think Sword and Shield All-Star's getting our bump? I think we're finally reaching, sort of the bottoming. We're starting to see a lot of them kind of go stagnant. They're still selling and they're not really dropping a lot anymore. So I think the trainer galleries and alt arts are starting to find a bottom. I think the booster boxes are kind of going stagnant, finding bottoms after their rise. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I do feel like if you were waiting to kind of take some nibbles and start to buy in, I think that we are starting to see some buying opportunities again on alt arts and trainer galleries and boxes and Sword and Shield. That's my personal, and guys, I've still been selling a good amount of like trainer. I know people say like trainer galleries are dead. I've seen a couple of videos like that, but I still sell trainer galleries like almost every day. Like here, talk about my eBay. I can bring my eBay back up real quick. Like you can see here, see where a trainer gallery, there's like the Mimikyu trainer gallery. We sold, let's see, Mimikyu again, Mimikyu, the Blaziken. We got that Rayquaza trainer gallery, another Mimikyu. So it's like the trainer galleries are moving. I sell trainer galleries near every day. So they're still selling. The prices have dropped, but the liquidity is not dropped at all. The liquidity is still high. So, I still believe in that stuff. Like seeing the liquidity still like that tells me the demand's still there. And it's all about the supply in the market right now. If the demand comes back at a higher rate than the supply, it's gonna rise because people still want the cards. So I got the mic a while ago. Here's the thing, guys. Like I don't, maybe I have like hearing issues, but here's the thing. I've had like my wife listen to my videos. I've had my friends, like my close friends that live close to me or whatever. And I've had them watch my videos on their phones and their PCs. And no one hears any issues. And they're like, my wife's not going to lie to me. My friends are like, they're close enough to where we give each other shit all the time. Like if something's wrong, they're going to tell me, yeah, dude, this is crap. You need to fix it. Like no one sees any problem with the audio on these. But I always get like a comment here or there from people like about the audio being bad, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know. I don't know how to fix it because I don't hear anything wrong. That's the problem here is like if I don't hear anything, my wife doesn't hear it, my friends don't hear anything wrong. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix it. I've listened to it on PC speakers on my phone, and it sounds good. It sounds quality. I don't know what to do, man. I'm sorry. For anyone that the audio is not right for them, I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. I've already heard Surging Sparks is Vivid 2.0. Dude, come on. Who is saying these ridiculous things? Hey, Breaks and Games in the house. What's up, dude? How you doing, man? Hope things have been well for you. See you back in the action here, hopefully. I know you've been out for a while. Is it a stolen credit card chargeback issue? I have a Wix site. You can contact them to have a more strict payment processor, which blocks all suspicious transactions. Already done that. Yeah, I've got the I forget what they call it. They have a special name for the enhanced the enhanced strict like system. I already have that. I have all that set up, and still same issue. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's stolen. I don't know if it's just charged back yet. Don't have any of that info yet. I'm disputing the chargebacks with all the evidence I have, but we're still in the middle of it. But that's the chargebacks are a second issue. Like now the Wix is holding my payment, so that I'm disputing the chargebacks with the actual credit card company, and then I'm having to fight another battle with Wix at the same time. It's a mess, dude. It's a mess. So for anyone wanting to start their own website, understand what you might be in for. It's not all fun and games. eBay is infinitely easier, and I've never dealt with anything like this, and I've sold 4 times as much on eBay and been on eBay for 13 years. So there's a reason you pay 10% fees on eBay. There's a reason. And no, you don't pay 13%. 3 of that is the payment processing fee, which you're going to pay on your own site as well when people pay with credit cards. So it's 10%. And yeah, I think eBay's worth their 10%. I really do. I've thought about this. I have thought about this, and this could come into effect. I'm still doing research on how to do it correct. I am considering running the pack breaks through eBay for the time being, at least. Either that or Whatnot or just PayPal, because I can't allow myself to accept any more payments because Wix is just going to hold all the money. They're just going to keep hoarding all my money, and I'm not going to allow them to do that any longer. And so, yeah, I might have to go through eBay and just eat the fees. We'll find out. We'll see. I'll have that answer tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I know eBay is more focused on the buyers. However, there are things you need to do as a seller to protect yourself. One, always make sure you have, it's really easy. Just set up if you're really worried about it, you can just set up like a video, like a camera or your phone and record you packing the orders, taping them up and slapping the shipping label on top of it. And then make sure everything you send out is tracked. I mean, I've just never had issues. I've never had an issue with eBay. I like the fact how all the cards over $250 go through authentication. I like how anything overseas goes, and put it this way, say how eBay doesn't protect their sellers. I've had multiple orders overseas. People try to charge back or try to say they didn't get it or try to return it, and eBay shuts it down right away. And I don't know if eBay pays for it or they just don't. But eBay always protects you, because what happens is if you ship through the global shipping program, you send the card to eBay first, then eBay sends it overseas. So if anything happens to that, you're off the hook because eBay already received the card for you. So eBay takes care of everything. And so that's a huge benefit of not having to worry about overseas transactions. You don't have to worry about any transaction over 250 on PSA or cards, because they're going to authenticate it for you. Once it's authenticated, you're off the hook. I had someone get one of the cards and they wanted to return it because they said, oh, there's a scuff on the case, or they didn't like, another person disagreed that it should be a PSA 10. They didn't think it should have got graded that high or whatever. And they tried to reach out for a return, and eBay shut it down every time. And eBay, every time they say nope. And so eBay does stand behind the sellers if you go through the proper means of everything you're supposed to do as a seller. And so I honestly, I just don't have much bad to say about eBay. I really don't. Fernando adding some bacon to the next cheeseburger, baby. Appreciate the super chat, dude. Hope you're having a good day, man. Wow, first 4 months, 30K in sales, 10 grand in profit. That is awesome, TJ. Congrats on the success, dude. That's not easy. That's not easy. I need a direct link to my eBay store. I mean, here's the thing, guys. Like, I mean, my eBay sales are not like the biggest form of income for me anymore. And so, and also I'm not like a huge volume seller. Most of the time I only have like 1 to 200 listings, and they sell relatively well. Like this morning I had 11 orders to ship out from eBay. And so my stuff already moves really well. And also right now I'm trying to like overprice some things because I want to have inventory for Collecticon. So I have some of the bigger cards like a little over market price so that they actually don't sell. So yeah, I could definitely do some more sharing, but right now things are moving actually fast, and some things are actually selling more than I would like because I want to have inventory for Collecticon, or I just won't have anything to vend. And so yeah, I think I will do that in the future, man. So I appreciate that. But for right now, yeah, anyone in this live stream, you know where to go if you want to buy anything. Unfortunately, I really am not working deals right now just because I'm trying to keep as much inventory as I can for Collecticon. I'm very clear. I don't hold on to a lot of stuff. I don't sit around with hundreds of singles. I don't have hundreds and hundreds of slabs. What you see on my eBay is what I have, right? What you see on my TCG player is what I have available. All I hold on to is sealed product. That's it. That's it. It's all it's ever been. And so like, you know, there's a lot of people out there who run businesses who just have, and I don't agree with it. They have massive amounts of inventory, tons of singles, tons of slabs, hundreds, if not thousands of listings. And I just don't agree with that business model. I don't. I mean, I think if you have that much inventory, right? Like, how long have you had it, one? And if you've had it longer than a few months, why haven't you just auctioned it and got rid of it and rolled that into new inventory so that you can make more and more profits if you're running a business, right? If you're not running a business and you're just trying to invest and you're trying to like hold it as inventory, quote unquote, it's listed, but it's higher and it's not really selling. I would much rather have sealed product, not PSA cards and singles. And so it's like, which one is it? Are you not moving your inventory fast enough? Or why isn't it in sealed product if you're holding long-term inventory? Like if you have something for 6 months, a year listed, you probably would have done better having 6 months to a year in sealed product than you would singles or slabs. That's just my personal feeling. Not really, man. It's not much difference. Like, here's the thing. MGS, it depends on your time. Like, the amount of time people spend trying to, like, make these listings on Facebook and Instagram, and then they deal with all these people messaging them, asking them questions, wanting more pictures, wanting, you know, going back and forth about how they're going to get paid, PayPal, Venmo, goods and services, friends and family. And the amount of time you're going to take selling each individual item with all these random people, I can just make an eBay listing and let it sit, set it and forget it. I'll get tons of people messaging me trying to tell me their sob stories on why I should sell it to them cheaper, or, you know, telling them, you know, trying to work a deal with me. Would you take this or all? I ignore it. By the way, guys, if you're reaching out to me on eBay, there's a good chance I'm going to ignore you. I'm just going to tell you, I don't waste my time with that anymore, right? I price the card. It's not at best offer. So no, I'm not accepting offers, and I let it sit, and eventually it sells. And when it sells, I ship it and it's done. I wipe my hands clean with the transaction. And so when you're smaller, it might make sense for the Facebook and stuff. When you grow and you have other things going on with your business, you just don't want to spend all the time dealing with all of the messages and going back and forth with all these people in Facebook and Instagram and Discords. The time investment doesn't make sense. So no, I'll happily pay that 10% or so fees on eBay or TCG Player rather than try to deal with all the other BS. And you're going to have a larger customer base and sometimes get more money. And usually you're going to take less on those other platforms, right? Like I just showed, like, I mean, I know people I've seen people on Discords selling a Celebrations Charizard for $150, right? Or like I've seen people on Discord selling 151 Charizards for $300. Well, I just got 350 for my 151 Charizard, right? Like I just got 180 for my Celebrations Charizard. So it's like, are you really coming out ahead by selling somewhere else for cheaper just because you don't want to use a platform? Like just list at higher market prices, put them on eBay TCG Player, you're making the same amount and way less effort, right? I'm all about the work smarter, not harder mindset, guys. Work smarter, not harder. How much Seal are you bringing to the card show, and how's the movement on it? I vended the first show, pretty no movement on Sealed. Made 2 sales on Japanese 151. I'll bring a good amount. I mean, you got to price stuff well, right? I mean, I don't know how you were pricing things. I see people at Collecticon, like they're listing stuff like over market price, like trying to have like this premium because it's in person. No. If you list stuff at market price, exactly what it's selling for, and people can come up and pay you cash or pay you for it right then and walk away with it, it's gonna sell. Almost 99% of the time, your stuff's gonna sell. Just don't overprice your stuff. That's the biggest thing I've seen people fail at Collecticon is trying to overprice, trying to like overvalue the fact that it's like in person. Like you're trying to charge like a card shop, and you're not a card shop, right? And sure, some people bigger followings, or some people get lucky and they can sell higher prices. I'm gonna have a bunch of people in the chat tell me all these one-off stories. I sold this at Collecticon for more. If you price it at market price, it's gonna move. It's gonna move. If you price it over market price, you're gonna have a harder time, and it is what it is. But if yours was marked at exactly what people were paying, here's the problem with Japanese. Sorry, I'll say this. Here's the problem with Japanese is, this is why I don't invest in it. There's very hard to determine market price, because people will say, well, I bought it from this guy on Instagram, this guy on Facebook group, this guy on Discord. And you're like, well, here's what it's selling for on eBay. And they're like, well, that's too much. It's like, that's why I don't mess with the Japanese market. So that could have been your issue, is maybe you're trying to sell it full market price from like eBay, where people on Discords were getting it way cheaper because there's all these crazy methods on getting Japanese product. Whereas, with English product, it's a lot easier, way easier. Daddy Donkey Kong, I'm not even gonna take your comment back at 119, but that's hilarious. Oh, that's hilarious. We can't be shaming anyone right now. I can't give any advice on Pokemon investing in other countries. I just don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about the other countries' markets. I'm sorry. Unclear instructions. I touch grass. I know have a high yield savings account on Acorn. Hey man, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you had different type of grass. I don't know. It might be a grass issue. Stellar Crown taking off already. It looks like it's going to be right up there with Surging Sparks, 120 a box. I hope so. I do hope so. How do you plan to transport all of your inventory for Collecticon? Also, if you are vending at the show, are you allowed to leave and add more inventory? Yeah, you can bring in more whenever you want. I'm driving. So we're driving. We're only like 4 hours away from Chicago. And so I think about 4 hours, maybe 4 or 5. So we're going to drive. So no big deal. I'm just going to pack it in the car and go up there. I already answered this question. I answered the question earlier. I said it depends on what price you can get a Fusion Strike box for, and what your where you can sell the packs. If you can get top dollar for the packs and you're not paying a lot of fees and shipping, and you can get a box under market and not pay a bunch of taxes and be behind on it, it makes sense for sure. If not, maybe hold on to them. Hidden Face for 130 euros, great price. Great price. Makes sense. Alex, when are you going public on the stock exchange? So I can buy some bacon cheeseburger ETF? Dude, that'd be so sick if like somehow, some way, we had like a Pokemon sealed product ETF on Wall Street. That'd be so amazing. So amazing. I don't think any reprint is coming right now, guys. As far as I know, there's no English reprints in the works. No, there's no real news. Anything you're hearing is 100% a. Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase that. Crown Zenith booster bundles are getting released. Crown Zenith booster bundles are getting printed. That's about all I know of. No 151, no Scarlet Violet era stuff yet. It's just they are just continuing to print Crown Zenith into the ground like they did Hidden Fates. I don't know if it's like every last specialty set of an era they just crush, but yeah, they're crushing Crown Zenith right now. Don't know about a lot about international shipping and where the best place to buy is and all the import fees and all that. I don't know enough about it, Hugo. I'm sorry. Thoughts on U.S. economy compared to compare to '08, and it's 10 times worse in debt than 2008. I mean, debt's more because incomes are more. The stock market's higher than it was. It's like it's hard to compare things by numbers, right? Like, when the stock market crashes like 1,000 points, they want to make these news articles. It's the biggest stock market crash in history. It's like, yeah, but percentage-wise, it's not, right? Well, no. Yeah, exactly. It's because it's higher than it's ever been. Same thing with debt. It's like, is percentage of debt the worst it's ever been? Because honestly, if you look at a lot of charts, the debt is actually being serviced better than a lot of times in history, meaning people are actually making their payments. The default rate on credit cards is much lower than it's been a lot of times in history, especially like in the 90s and 2000s. And so just looking at the big number, it can be very off misleading, I would say. Look, the doom and gloom crash stuff, we can talk about it every day. Depending on what data you look at or how you read it or who you talk to, it's always going to be different answers. There's a couple things you can't live your life by. You can't live your life by this impending doom always coming. You can't live your life based off what president gets in office. You just have to freaking do the best you can, right? Do what's right by others. Treat people like you want to be treated. Run whatever you're doing, business, work your job, do it with, honor and decency and integrity, and let everything else figure itself out, right? You can only take things as they come. You can plan as much as you can, but some things you just can't plan for. And so if something like that happens, a huge, fallout, we'll deal with it then. If it gets really bad and the whole world's in world war and everything's getting attacked and nuclear bombs are going off, well, I don't think cardboard or money or gold or anything that's going to matter at that point. It's just going to be really food and ammunition and water and shelter. I mean, so I don't know. I don't dig down too deep on those conspiracy rabbit holes or crash rabbit holes. So I just don't, I couldn't really tell you too much about all that, man. If you're scared, I don't know, sell it all and hoard cash and gold and ammo and get a bunker. I don't know. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know how old you are. You may be as old as me. You may be older. Once you're alive long enough, which I'm not alive super long, but I'm 34. You've seen so many predictions of crashes. You've seen so many of the top people, all the billionaires are selling their stocks. Oh, Robert Kiyosaki's coming out saying it's the biggest crash in history. Everything's going to zero. You got Peter Schiff thinking everything's going to zero. You got people hoarding gold. Gold's up, gold's down. You go through all these cycles so many times. This president's going to end the world. That president's going to end the world. And like even '08, right? Which is the biggest crash in my lifetime. Life went on. Like you realize that like life, we're all still here, right? It was hard on a lot of people. A lot of people though, they got by just fine. They had recession-proof jobs. They kept going to work. They kept paying their bills. They already owned their house. They weren't looking for a new house. They weren't trying to sell their house. They just held it out. And, the country made it through. And so I think anything that comes along, you can make it through it, right? Just be smart, be conservative with what you're doing. Don't take unnecessary risks and take advantage of things when they arise. Invest in cat food, Cryptomon. Invest in cat food, man. That's it. God, I'm trying to get closer up to... Hello from Collector. The Collector app. I think, did I see like yeah, what the gifted all kind of stuff. 50 memberships. Collector gifted 50 memberships. Wow, dude. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Everyone who got a gifted membership, thank them. Thanks for checking out the stream. Appreciate the gifted memberships. Professor Rowan in the chat. Haven't seen you in a while. What's up? You sound fine to me. Mike, everyone's saying Mike is fine here, so who knows? That's just the way he talks. It's your voice. You will get used to it. Oh, that's funny. Mike is fine. You're getting trolled. That's funny. All right, I'm only about 15 minutes back now. Let me try to scroll through some of this stuff. Surging Sparks is a continuation of Vivid. SIR Pikachu gets a tiara and bottle. God, you guys are hilarious. A bottle of Ozempic. Oh, this is getting so funny. Nostalgianomics, super helpful info. Appreciate you always educating the community. Love creators who always give back in a positive way. I appreciate that. Thank you once again. Japanese Gengar. As you know, I'm an English investor. I would say if you believe in the Japanese market the same way I believe in the English market, I think the Gengar VMAX is a good buy in English. I can't really talk in the Japanese side of things, though. Something you need to know? No, I mean, I've been very clear about it. I've bought, I don't know, 30 Hidden Fates ETBs recently. And some of her breaks, some I'm just, I thought it was a good time to buy. So I bought some and I'm holding on to some of them. Pretty simple. I mean, guys, like, I know content creators get a bad rap for like, pump and dumping or like making content when they don't do it themselves. 90% of the stuff I talk about, I do. I mean, there's definitely cards and random products that I say might be a good pickup that I don't actually own everything. But like 95% of everything I talk about in videos that I say are good buys, I buy or I already have. Like it's that simple. I said it was one of the top 5 investments in August. I bought some and I'm holding some. Like I do it. I said Paradox Rift I think was a good set to pick up. A sale came on. I bought more Paradox Rift. I mean, there's no like bait and switch, smoke and mirrors, like special things that I do. It's just I call it out, I do it, and as long as the majority of the things I do work and only a small amount fail, you continue to make money over time. And I say this all the time, guys. It's not that I wouldn't collect Pokemon cards at all, but I wouldn't be here in this hobby as a business creating content about investing and if I wasn't making money. Like, if these investments and all this wasn't successful and I wasn't continuously growing my net worth with this, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing it. And so all this stuff that people come out like they're against Pokemon investing and think it's all like a joke or whatever, it's just like, why do you think we're all here? You see all this success all around you. I get people reaching out to me all the time, showing me their success stories, sharing me their investment portfolio gains, their collector apps and everything, and how good their investments are doing and their collection's doing. And it's like, why do you think all of us are here and being successful? It's not because we're losing money. And so it's just like, it's all it is, man. I do what I show. What's your favorite Pokemon or top 3? Let's take Mewtwo. It's all gonna be like Gen 1 stuff, like Blastoise, Nidoking, stuff like that. I'm a Gen 1 kid. What do you want from me? Gengar, all those types of things. I definitely like the psychic Pokemon the most, like the Gengar, the Mewtwo's, the Alakazams, like Kadabra. I always like the psychic types. Hey, Alex, going to Collecticon Chicago? Yes, I'm going, vending, all that. I'll be at Chicago all day, both days. Alfonso, I'm sorry to hear you got cheated on eBay. That's no good. Um, yeah, PokeSun, good point. Like if you're really worried and it's high end stuff, just videotape everything. Videotape your packaging, what you're putting in there, putting the label on, signature required on the delivery, all that good stuff. A lot of ways to protect yourself. The problem is too many vendors are greedy. 1,000%. I'm going to Atlanta Collecticon with eBay recent comps as my main page on the home screen. I love it. Alex talks loud, talk quieter. Okay. Now will be the portion of the stream where we're going to use our ASMR voice. We're going to do an ASMR live stream. Someone wanted to send an 151 Charizard because they couldn't pull it. That's so ridiculous. People are sleeping on Stellar Crown. I can't say you're wrong. I can't say you're wrong. I did address this. So the fact that Stellar Crown's sold out on Pokemon Center, I think Pokemon is changing the way they do business. I truly believe this. I think they are one trying to give the impression of more scarcity. I think they're sending less product to the distributors, and I think they're selling more through like other avenues like Walmart's, Costco's, Sam's Clubs, Amazon's. I think they plan on like bringing products back in stock at later dates, just like they did with other Scarlet Violet sets, just like they're doing right now with Sword and Shield sets. And when they continuously like dump small amounts of product on the market, they sell out a lot faster. And I think it's a way for them to move things with this like artificial scarcity or this belief of scarcity. And I think they're trying out something like that a lot more. So that's kind of my opinion on what's going on. No evidence. Complete conspiracy theory. So that's just my thoughts. Honestly, Crown Zenith is a bust at this point. It will go up, but it's going to take a long time. Booster box sets are the way to go. Yeah, I'm starting to move that direction too, with the exception of 151. Even Paldean Fates, a lot of people love that set. It's a great set. I mean, it's got great cards. Paldean Fates Charizard, you got the Mew, you've got the Gardevoir, the Iono, you got the baby shinies, the Pikachu, Charmander, Charmeleon, Snorlax, all that stuff. And it just seems that specialty sets have a much harder time to move than mainline sets do. Unless you buy the PCETBs. Those are still doing extremely well in Crown Zenith and Paldean Fates and all that. So I would say PCETBs are probably the main way to go in specialty sets if you're going to do specialties. It's not that you're not going to make money, like he said. It's definitely becoming a lot harder than it is in booster boxes. I don't know what terrestrial festival is. I'm assuming that's the Japanese English or Japanese evolution set, trainer set, and rocket set. Man, look, dude, I invest in every set. English, I don't touch Japanese. I invest in every English set. So yeah, if it's getting released in English, I'll be in it. Trump 2024, godly Shad, bringing Trump into the debate. Now here we go. Now we're gonna start stepping on some toes. I'm waiting for the Kamala 2024 next from somebody. Yeah, Mike, I don't mean like it doesn't matter who wins presidency and it doesn't matter like the policies. What I mean is it's going to happen, right? Someone's going to become president and half the people aren't going to like him, half the people are. And that person, and this, guys, you can, I don't want to get super political, but by and large, on average, if it's a Republican, which obviously Trump at this time, there's usually less regulations. If it's a Democrat, which in this case it's Kamala, there's more regulations. It's statistically gets a little harder to do business because of regulations under Democrats, a little easier under Republicans. So the what I mean by it doesn't matter. It can affect your businesses. It can affect things because if we get whatever the stupid taxing unrealized capital gains. How's that going to work with Pokemon product, by the way? It's going to be crazy. But yeah, all that stuff. But my point is that everyone's still playing by the same rules, except the people at top. They don't play by any rules. They do whatever they want and whatever. But all of us are still playing by the same rules. And so if it gets harder to do business or easier to do business, or this law gets passed or that regulation gets passed, everyone's got to play by the same rules. And so it's our job to continue to evolve and run our businesses or invest in things as wisely as possible. But everyone's dealing with the same thing, right? It doesn't matter. That's why I mean by it doesn't matter who's in office. It's still up to you to run your business as most effective as you can, or invest as effectively as you can based on all the laws and regulations that are out there. And so what I mean by it doesn't matter, I don't mean it doesn't matter like life-wise or whatever you believe. I'm saying it doesn't matter in terms of like how I'm going to approach, going forward in this hobby, right? As things come, you juke and jive and you go through the motions and you try to find new ways to be profitable and new ways to run your business. But it's not going to, worrying about who becomes president isn't going to change my day-to-day operations, right? That's more what I'm talking about. Like worrying about, the debt situation or the credit card debt, it's not going to change the way I invest, right? And so that's all I'm saying. After Paladin Fates, I'm not buying specialty sets except Team Rocket. Man, is that really going to be a specialty set? If it is, that sucks. Always. There's always a crash around the corner. Always. It's all fun and games till it actually happens. Freedom, seeds, cash, gold, silver, food, and water. And, of course, a bunker for the cardboard. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Mike, there's, again, it goes back to the short-term thing. There's always short-term changes when things change power, but it's like, I mean, draw a line in the last 10, 15 years. Like, draw a line from 08 until now. What has that been? 15 years? How many different presidents have we had? How many different regimes? How many different Congresses? Democrat, Republican, right? The market's gone up. It's had ups and downs, but it's gone up. Like, there'll be downturns, but it's like over time, things grow. Things grow. I actually didn't pick up any Sam's Club Crown Zenith because I don't really value those promo cards at all. I don't think they have any value to me. And so I ended up ordering Crown Zenith booster bundles through distribution because they were cheaper. Like the price per pack on distribution booster bundles is actually cheaper than those boxes were. So it actually made more sense to buy the bundles for me. So that's why I didn't pick up any of those. All right. So the tail end of Sword and Shield, when I came back, as much as they're crushing Crown Zenith, was there an XY Sun and Moon set that got the same treatment? Yeah, dude, right here. Right here, this one. Hidden Fates got crushed right at the end, like right at the end of Sun and Moon when it was like Sword and Shield has already been released a while, and like right at maybe like a 2-year mark exactly, Hidden Fates got crushed with a massive reprint of multiple products, and it did it really stopped its growth until like now it's finally starting to move a bit. But yeah, so it's happened before, man. It has. Alakazam, best ever created Psychic Pokemon rule. Absolutely, dude. Psychic are the best. Psychic are the best. You can't change my mind. If you're doing ASMR, you need more cleavage. I agree. I'm not cut out for the ASMR streams. I agree with you. If you're sitting on singles, at how many duplicates would you start selling? That's an impossible question, man. It depends on what your goal is. Is your goal to like invest in them and like see like appreciation? Are you just buy them to flip? Do you need the capital? Do you have something else to move it into? Like there's so many different things that I can't answer that, right? Yep, Stellar Crown's going to start getting delivered today, guys. Are you guys ready? It's going to start coming. Yeah, I mean, guys, who knows? Like, candidates always say either side, like, a lot of stuff always gets said during the run up to the election. Like, who knows if they're actually going to try to tax unrealized gains? And if they do, maybe it's like just like the top 1%. Who knows how it's all going to turn out? Like, again, it's just like, do we even worry about it till it gets here? I mean, it's just, you can stress about something new every day. It's not worth it. Just go forward. What do you think of WCS Japanese Pikachu? Don't even know. Yeah, I've said it before, guys. I'm not a Japanese guy. This is not the channel. I don't buy and sell Japanese cards. I don't invest in Japanese product. I strictly stick to English. I don't like how the Japanese market is too it's too uncentralized. I don't like the fact that it's impossible to nail down a market price. And it's too I don't even know the right word for it. It's impossible because like everyone's got a different price, right? There's the eBay price and there's the Discord price. There's the guy that imports straight from Japan price. There's the price in Japan. There's this website or that website, and everyone's got a story of what they paid. You never know what anyone's getting the product for. Where it's with English, it's much more widely accepted that TCG Player, eBay are our main market price, and anything under that would be getting a deal. Whereas like, especially 151 when all that was going down, everywhere you looked, it was listed at a different price. You don't know if it's real, it's fake, if it's where it's coming from, and you never know like who's getting a better deal than who. And it's just like one guy could buy from one person and one guy could buy from the other, and there could be like a 30% gap in between those two prices, and you're just like, what's going on here? Where it's like, if I buy an English booster box for 95, I know someone isn't buying one 30% less than me, right? I know distribution isn't 30% less. And so it's like, that's the one thing I just don't like about those markets. And so that's why I don't mess with them. That's all it is. That's all it is. But if you're making money with it and you enjoy it and you've got it down, do that. I'm happy for you. I'm just not the channel to come to, guys. I'm sorry. Look, I have my strengths and I know what they are, and I also know what my weaknesses are, and that is talking about things I have no business talking about, and that's going to be Japanese. I'm tired of seeing these political ads and BS. I don't know why people have to drag politics into the hobby. I think people just are worried about everything all the time. It's not just politics, right? Because like the debt, that's not politics. That's just bipartisan or whatever you call it. Like it's just the debt, right? And everyone's always worried about the credit card debt numbers and the jobs numbers and the unemployment numbers, and everyone's just always worried about all these statistics and news and what happened in '08 or it's so mind numbing that it gets you either paralyzed or pissed off, or it doesn't do anything good for you, right? Like I could show you crash predictions going back the last 2 years, and nothing's happened in the last 2 years. Did you spend the last 2 years worrying about a crash or worrying about this or that or that? It's just crazy. People just need to stop worrying and focus on what you can control, and that's your life, people in your life, your business, your job, your finances, your investments. Worry about that. You should be holding your booster boxes longer than a president is in office. Now I like that. I like that take. Let's hear it for Sir Philly on that one. That's one thing we can agree on. My oldest sealed possession, probably be some of my XY boxes. The XY are probably the oldest boxes I own. Question, nice ETBs in the background. Is it a good set to pick up, right? Seems pretty cool. Agent Crypto's been all about hidden fates ever since the beginning. Here's a question. I want to start collecting again after 20 years. How do I get more invested in the new Pokemon? Because I wanted to start with 151 with Pokemon. I know, but the set is expensive now. Ooh, yeah, it's difficult, right? Because, this is one of the only eras, because XY had a lot of 151 Pokemon sets. Sun and Moon, a lot of sets focusing around 151 Pokemon. Sword and Shield even had a lot of the top Altars were original 151. Whereas now, Scarlet Violet's really changed things up, and there's not as many. Cameron, that's a lot harder. I get it. I don't know how to tell you to be more invested in the new Pokemon, because I struggle with it myself. So I don't have a good answer for you on that one. I'm sorry. Got in late. The knowledge is flowing like a great Amazon river out here, friends. Get your paddles out. Thanks, Tymo. Yeah, I'm gonna come up with a different design for this space coming up here, and I'm gonna probably like push the desk out a little farther. I'm gonna expand the background, and I am gonna get that other verse uncut sheet back there. So I'm gonna go through some. Again, I'm trying to get through, like, once I stop spending so much time dealing with this whole Wix scenario and all these stupid, idiotic things, I'll be able to get all my work done and work on other things, which I haven't been able to yet. So that's where we're at. I made it to the end of the chat. We did it. We did it. And I almost went 2 hours still. You guys are crazy. Anyway, appreciate everyone stopping by today. If you didn't watch the beginning of the video, it's like the first 30 or so minutes. Really the main portion of this live stream before the Q&A, if you missed it, it really just centered around understanding what your goals are. And if one of your goals is taking profits at certain times or certain price points or certain ages, don't be afraid to take those profits. Don't worry about if someone else, isn't selling, or if they say you have paper hands, or if they say you're not a real investor, or all the BS, right? If your plan is to wait for boxes to double, or, if you've got a good, time to take money on Paldea, Evolved, or Twilight right now, and you want to take your profits and lower your cost basis on what you're keeping or whatever it may be, don't be afraid to do that. Same thing goes for taking losses, right? Sometimes it pays to hold out a little longer, right? And give things a little more time. Sometimes you've given things enough time and it might make sense to take a loss on them and just take what you can get, move that money into something that's going to perform better. And that money might actually outperform in the new thing, even after taking the loss, better than the items that still aren't moving. And so don't be afraid to do that. Everyone takes losses in investing, right? Don't feel bad about it. But also don't be too quick to take those losses, right? Give it enough time and, do a deeper analysis before you make those decisions. They shouldn't be rash, emotional decisions off just being mad you're down, because not everything is a sell just because you're down or losing money after a year or 2 years. Some, good things take time. So that's kind of that was the main kind of points of the video. You can go back and watch it. But yeah, appreciate you guys showing up today. I got some good videos planned for the rest of the week. I'm gonna do more of that longer form content videos that people have been liking. So, and I got some good topics to talk about. So have more of those coming. I am going to hopefully do the pack breaks because obviously it's Stellar Crown week. We gotta open Stellar Crown. I'm gonna figure out the best way to do that, working around the Wix scenario. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, hope you guys have a good Monday afternoon. Hope you guys have a great week. It's another awesome week to be Pokemon investors, collectors, businesses, whatever out there is. So have a good day, everyone. See you guys back here in a new one soon. I'm out.